Welcome, my friends, to the Psychic Lab. I'm Riz Mirza, Trance Channel, Shaman, Psychic Medium, and really your friend, your guide into the parts of yourself that you've always suspected are there, the parts of you that believe that humanity possesses more than 5 senses, perhaps more than 6 senses. This is the place where we drop in and discuss the unknown. I believe that the unknown will probably remain the unknown for the rest of our lives. I believe that we will be exploring the unknown, and when that becomes known, we will question that over time. Experts will come and go. Practitioners will always be there. They will grow into teachers. Some will remain students. Those who remain students and also teach are the ones who are at the leading edge, the cutting edge of what we would call the fabric of understanding. I like to use these kinds of words because they make me feel good. They make me feel good because they articulate for me the essence, the deeper meaning, the solidity, the firmament of this type of approach to life. The psychic approach to life is something that I believe that humans have been feeling is a part of their true nature. Our intuition, the understanding of coincidences or déjà vu, or the premonitions that we don't know are premonitions. These are conversations that happen where we are drawn into the winding path, sensing that there are bits of information leading us to more. We take chances by following those paths, and oftentimes we find that we are led to somewhere we didn't know existed. What do I mean by that? How do I make this long story short? It might be less entertaining if we just cut to it. But I don't think it's just entertaining when we talk about these topics. We're taking time to drop in. We're taking time to give ourselves really permission to say, let's take a deep breath. We've had years of people speaking about psychic matters, centuries, thousands of years. Seers, clairaudient, clairvoyant, empaths, astrologers, tarot card readers. These modalities, these tools have been shared with us over the years through different cultures. The cross-pollination is simply us realizing there is a greater truth where we think one tradition started. Sometimes we find started somewhere else. People have been marking the third eye chakra, the point between the eyebrows, not only in India, but in Africa. We've seen it in South America. Where did this begin? Well, I don't think anyone owns spiritual knowledge. I believe that we incarnate over and over and over again and have different ethnicities every time. So what you may think are your ancestors are only your ancestors in this incarnation, in this lifetime, who look like you or have the same cultural background as you. But you have them from every lifetime, and they are with you. When we're talking about psychic reality, what we're saying is that there's more to this reality than what you currently sense with your 5 senses. That there are sounds you cannot hear, there are colors you cannot see, there are experiences, or you might say dimensions, that you are not aware you're experiencing in your waking life. You're aware of this in the dream time. Let's take a breath, because a lot was said in just the last few minutes. When I do the Psychic Lab, I am allowing myself to just speak about what is coming forth, what lands on my lips, what lands on my tongue, when I'm connecting with you guys. So, if I haven't said it already, I'm glad that you're here. We're going to take it slow. The lab is a place where we are methodical in our approach to understanding psychic realities within us. I believe we live in a psychic reality. I believe that our attention is focused in this moment right now as you are watching me, hearing me. You are experiencing it in the now. Whenever you watch this video, whether it was done in 2024, it matters not. It could be 10 years from now and you're watching this. Perhaps this truth will ring truer to you then, or perhaps there'll be more new knowledge that will add and maybe change some of what I'm saying. I'm open to that. But what I speak to from experience and also my own ponderings, my own wanderings of my mind, whatever that may be. Certainly just my focus. My mind is my focus. Wherever I focus. When we dive into this discussion, we will no doubt be able to be in a place where we have to confront the elephant in the room, that there are multidimensional realities. That when I say past life or future life, those are in reference to, or let's say the point of reference is where we are standing now. Meaning, is there a past, is there a future? Well, I don't believe that time exists, but I do believe timing exists. We've made up the idea of minutes, seconds, months, weeks, and years based upon the movements of nature. We could have said a lot of different things. We could have said twice around the sun is a year. That was all up to us. But we agreed to have this understanding that would be uniform across the world. But what we have been kind of taken from is understanding this intuitive sense, this feeling of our antennas, you might say, our nervous system extending actually far beyond the body. I feel personally from my nervous system, it extends almost 10 feet in front of me. I often can feel the energy or the texture of something, or I can feel the temperature even 10 feet away from me. That's been my personal experience. And that, for me, is a testament in my own reality, in my own life, that our awareness is far beyond the touch. This is a sense. Again, we're coming back to the word sixth sense. For the sake of this discussion, we're just going to say the sixth sense. It might be the ninth sense. There may be senses we don't know about. So you see, we're always going to be slow and methodical. So I'm glad that you're here and you're dropping in with me and you're taking the time. Sit more comfortably if you can. Take deeper breaths, have less distractions, close the door. Physical environments is one of the things I'd like to talk to you about when you are working to develop your psychic awareness. Why do we meditate? Why do we have to have it quiet? Why can't we just meditate on the New York City subway or at a ball game or in urban downtown traffic noise? Well, you could, but I wouldn't recommend starting there. Having a quiet environment for yourself, physically quiet, will be a good starting point. I do think that it is a foundation of even an advanced practitioner, advanced psychic practitioner's daily ritual is to have physical quiet. Why? Well, for obvious reasons. You're able to hear and feel your own vibration better. You've been in conversations with people in noisy environments where after a while you forgot that the environment was noisy. And suddenly if the noise stops, you realize how loud you're talking. You realize that your gestures were bigger. You realize that you were magnifying your own energy to get your communication across. But you see, the psychic information that you receive as a channeler, as a medium, channelers who are channeling spirit guides, and we'll go into that, and mediums who are connecting to those who are on quote-unquote the other side. They are receiving this information not in what we call the physical, meaning you can't necessarily see it or touch it, not necessarily, but the extremely sensitive, psychically sensitive individual does sometimes see with their physical two eyes a spirit in the room, energy lines changing around an object or a person or an animal. They will hear with their physical ears the transmission of someone who is on the other side. Oftentimes when we are having a class such as this, or class time such as this, you'll have I might want to say there's a part of you that says, well, how do we know all of these things are real? How do you know they're not real? And that's not a facetious answer. What I'm saying is that what is the methodology that you're using? What is the criterion that you're applying to spirit guides aren't real, or your ancestors cannot hear you, they don't exist? See, all of these start to go into a belief system that you hold, that you've been programmed to hold, or you've programmed yourself to hold. But if we are truly going to explore this, and I'm going to share with you what I've experienced myself as a medium, then all of your doors and all of your windows in yourself must be open. Just imagine all these windows and doors that are inside of you, 100,000 windows, 100,000 doors, and imagine all of them opening and a breeze blowing through. It's a good meditation for you. The state of being must be on that level. How can you learn about something that you don't know about and that maybe part of you even doubts? Good luck. It will require persistence. It will require you getting past any blocks, beliefs, opinions, stagnation, resistance, or tension that's in you, distractions of the mind, for you to be able to give this a chance. So if you're watching, you're probably already what we would call a believer. And if you're not, then maybe you're here just to entertain yourself or to debunk something. Well, enjoy. So let's go back to studying what this is. Some of you are already experiencing precognitive thoughts. You are feeling energies around you. This lab is about really identifying what are these energies? What are these intelligences? Who are these people that you're hearing? You don't have to be someone who is coming from a family of psychics or mediums. You can just be yourself. I didn't come from a family of psychics or mediums, but I came from an emotionally sensitive family, which definitely assisted me. It assisted me in ways that felt very good and assisted me in ways that were the catalyst, meaning didn't feel very good. So you're raised around very highly sensitive people who may or may not act out in a pleasant or unpleasant way around you. So whatever those traumas may have been, whatever those uncomfortable ways that you grew up may have been, you can use all of that to strengthen your sensitivity rather than suffer from it. Let's say that again. Using all that has happened to you, around you, for you, to strengthen your sensitivity, not have you suffer from it. My goal with you is for you to understand this finely tuned, highly advanced technology that's inside of you, and you must take care of it. How do you take care of it? Well, first you have to acknowledge that you need to slow down. If you look at any meditative practice around the world, it's always about slowing down. They'll say, take a slow, deep breath in. Try to not have any distractions. Don't speak too quickly. Allow your mind and your thoughts to slow down. All of this slowing is because you're often racing. You're racing to make a point. You're racing to get from A to B. Peace is when you are no longer chasing something and when you are no longer running from something. Peace is when you are no longer running after something or running away from something. These are little philosophical, transformational, healing, emotionally based pieces of advice that I give to you. And they cannot be separate from you developing your psychic awareness. You can do it for a little while. I've seen many psychics and mediums come and go who don't do this work on themselves to become peaceful people. And their sixth sense abilities are quite good, but they don't last. And the reason they don't last is the actual infrastructure, meaning them as consciousness and even their physical bodies are not able to hold a vibration of being a channel for these finely tuned, highly potent energies to come through. Finely tuned, highly potent energies. I'm speaking about spirit guides. I'm speaking about simply information that's being given to you, and those who are on the other side, in the case of mediums. Finely tuned, meaning they are at a very high frequency and they are often very subtle. Now, let's talk about advanced technology and refining and strengthening your sensitivity. Think about a Lamborghini and think about any car that you would consider to be a lower priced car. I don't want to name any brand names, but whatever you would think is the lowest priced car as opposed to the Lamborghini. And you can pick a higher priced car as well. I picked the Lamborghini because of its performance abilities and because of the advanced technology that's in it. Interestingly enough, this machine that has the highest quality building materials that it's made of, the highest quality rubber and metal and plastics and circuitry, and its computer is the most advanced computer that you can put into a car. That one requires kid gloves. That one requires being treated like a baby. You don't beat up your Lamborghini, do you? And yet it's the most technologically advanced. The lower price car, whatever's at the bottom of the barrel for you, that one you can probably beat up a bit. But interestingly enough, the more expensive the car, meaning the more value, the higher quality building materials and technology used to make that car, one would think that should be built like a tank. Well, it is in a certain way. But because of its sensitivity, it has to be learned how to use it. You have to learn how to use it, okay? So think of yourself as the Lamborghini rather than you just throwing yourself out there into the psychic world and trying everything on for size. Let's take it slow. And I want to go from the ground up, from the tires to the carburetor to the engine to the fuel systems to the steering, etc. This vehicle. You're a vehicle. You're a channel. The word channel is like the word canal. It is an opening through which goods, services, water flows through. That's what a canal is. Leads to a larger body of water. Suez Canal, English Channel. Some of these have been made by man in order to provide that transport for goods and services. Now, the channel that you watch on your television, you're watching a YouTube channel right now. But the channels you watch on your television are frequencies. You turn it from 1 to 3 to 100 to 500, and you're tuning into different frequencies. So think of all of those signals as bits of information. Maybe your spirit guides exist at different dials on the radio. At 98.7 is one particular spirit guide, and at 100.3 is another. Indeed, that is the way that I see it, and you are receiving these communications when you are in your most relaxed and open state. Right now, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of radio station frequencies flying above and around where you are at this very moment. Right now, where you are at this very moment, radio signals are traveling. And without a radio, you won't hear them. That means that 100 different radio stations are playing 100 different songs. Each song has its own rhythm and melody, genre of music, its own tempo, and its own message. And these are literally, not figuratively. I'm not speaking just spiritually. I'm speaking in scientific fact. For what it's worth, these songs are playing around you. And if you had a radio next to you, one of those older radios, not an internet radio, and you turn the dial, you would be able to hear one song and then another and another and another. So that tuning capability within that machine of the radio is also within you. You're not aware of it because many times you have tuned into things when you didn't realize. You just had your dial spinning and suddenly there was a message. There was an intuitive hit. There was a compulsion to go left or to go right, to call someone or not call someone, make a communication, perhaps maybe even to stay still and not make a move at all. You call it your gut. Let's take a moment to talk about the gut, or the intuitive, I want to say, compliment that we say to our gut. We say, I should have trusted my gut. Well, I want to share something with you that maybe will strike you as interesting when I say it, and that is, don't trust your gut. Why? Simple reason, your gut can be programmed by fear. Perhaps if you were attacked by a particular type of dog when you were 5 or 6 years old and it mauled you and hurt you, then that has now been programmed into your gut. So when you walk by a dog or even see one across the street, you might even see a picture of one, you will have a gut reaction. Animals are known for their animal instincts as being accurate. Well, here's another thing you might want to try on for size and just share in this exploration with me, is that even the animal's instinct are often incorrect because they have been programmed. For example, there have been animals that you might find on the street that you were willing to take home and take care of, and you had nothing but goodwill and intentions towards that stray animal, but it might attack you. It might physically actually attack you. All of its instincts are saying that you are not safe, and yet you are. So the animal's instincts are incorrect. So we are not talking about gut, and we are not speaking about animal instincts. What we're speaking about is a neutral, surrendered, relaxed, and open state of being within you. That is what psychic awareness is. There are no judgments. There are no opinions. I can tell you that I've given readings to thousands of people, some of whom perhaps were very unpleasant just for me as a person, maybe someone I would not care to associate with. But when I give the reading, I am in a place of clean, open, non-judgment. Because the message is, that's what I'm there to deliver. The message is also, I cannot judge. Oftentimes I'll get messages that make no logical sense to me, but they will make perfect sense to the person I'm here to deliver the message to. So this is not only practice psychically, but again, psychic work requiring this non-judgmental state can also benefit your life, because certainly we need more non-judgment in our life on the planet as a society. You see, always I'm going to mention these connectors between your psychic work and life and to your earthly work and life, and that they are really one. I believe that we are entering into a new state of, or a new era of psychic understanding, whereas many decades ago, psychics were known as fortune tellers and being able to, or claim to have seen everything that's going to happen. And some people will say, well, how come they didn't know my grandfather's name, but they knew something else? Well, it's because when we give a mediumship reading, it is not an interview, it's not a question and answer session really. They are coming through to deliver any messages that they feel are necessary and appropriate for that session. You know, again, all of reality is a mystery. No matter how much we think we know about it, we are just telling our tales. What I'm doing here with you is telling you and sharing with you my stories of my explorations and navigations, and I'm coming out of the forest and telling you what I saw and how I've made some maps, and we can explore them together. All right? So mediumship reading is not a question and answer interview. I've mentioned this before. Hey, Uncle John, where's all the money you left me? Oh, nephew, it's under the staircase in the suitcase. Why didn't you look there? It doesn't work that way. What we are discovering is that where psychedelic, it's interesting, Freudian slip, psychedelic, I said, rather than psychic. We'll talk about psychedelics as well. Psychic reality and understanding where psychic work is going includes how we are creating our reality and understanding the nature of reality, that our world, our reality, is feeling based. Everything we do is based on a feeling better or feeling worse. That becomes our navigation. If this makes us feel better, we tend to go towards that. So as we are navigating that basic, I want to say, system setting of we will seek pleasure and avoid pain, you might call it that. But I feel that we are actually seeking consciousness ultimately. We are seeking to expand our consciousness. Some people jump out of planes to feel more expanded. Some people learn how to fly the plane. Some people learn how to paint the plane. All different ways that we are wanting to expand. It is in our nature to expand. So when I dive into this conversation with you, what we're really doing is the nature and the mood of this talk is for you to drop in. I hope that you're realizing this. There is no point to the conversation other than expansion. There is no point to this lab other than surrender, consider, integrate, and experiment. If you were to close your eyes, you could still see things. If you were to be completely silent with no sounds around you, you could still hear things. People say that's in your head, hearing memories of things. I understand that. But your consciousness, meaning you are consciousness, reacts to sounds, reacts to thoughts, visuals in your head. And what this tells me is that you are really one constant creative conversation. That is what we are. We are a constant creative conversation. Notice, we're always thinking about or operating from creation. What will we do next? What are we doing now? What do we do later? All of this is about creation. What would we like to eat? Would we like to sleep? Would we like to stay awake longer? Again, creating moments all the time. So the very nature of our reality is this constant expansion. So you, at this moment, are connected to other dimensions. These bleed-throughs are what we call deja vu. There are alternate versions of yourself that are experiencing realities that are just a little bit different than this one. Perhaps there are infinite realities. Maybe we don't have the 4 bars on our internal cell phone to perceive that just yet. But certainly if you're exploring dimensions, you know that when you dream, you're experiencing another dimension. When you're having deja vu, you're experiencing also another dimension. Many of you can feel that there are things coming for you. You feel if there's a relationship coming for you. Perhaps you feel if there is a turn in your business coming for you, but you just don't know what it is. So seek out a psychic medium to find out exactly what it is. If it's appropriate for you to know what it is, the medium, if they're a good, experienced medium and a sensitive one, will be able to tell you that. But it will always be what you need to hear. Not always what you want to hear. In fact, I would say probably more than 50% of the time, it's not what you want to hear. So psychic work, again, is going beyond just predictions about when a particular thing will happen. It is not about that. Why? That is because, just briefly, and we're not going to get into this too much, is that we are constantly in flux. You can change the course of your future. Of course you can. We are at this moment operating in other dimensions. You may be awake, of course, as you're reading this, hearing this, watching this, but a part of you also is actively creating tomorrow. A part of you is actively recreating in your mind the past. What was, what could have been. This is how powerful you are as consciousness. Sometimes it's overwhelming for people when they start to realize this, but I can guarantee you this, that if you stick with me, it won't overwhelm you. You will actually find more peace in this. So were you looking for techniques? Let's talk about that. Are you looking for techniques right now? Riz, just teach me the techniques. I tune into the Psychic Lab because I just want to be more psychic. You're talking about reality and dimensions, and I get it, and I get it. Just tell me, what are the exercises? My friends, you can find psychic exercises anywhere on the internet. Just Google psychic exercises. You don't have to buy a course to learn what exercises you can do. Most of the exercises are all the same. So just Google psychic exercises. I'm not going to do that with you here. What the Psychic Lab is about where you're coming from and how you see reality itself. That this is a psychic reality. When you die, when you cross over, when you pass on, when you leave your body, whatever term you want to use, you will still be you as consciousness. You will see other dimensions, other incarnations of who you, quote unquote, were. You are traveling forward, some say. I say you're actually expanding. It's different. Expansion is on all sides, above and below included. Moving forward is linear. I don't believe that time is actually linear. I believe we are in this constantly expanding moment. And the reason why in the Psychic Lab I speak about the nature of reality is so that you completely relax in your reception of existing. So that you completely relax and begin accepting that you exist and that you don't need to figure out all of it. The moment you really begin to do this, you will start to slow down. You will start to feel a stillness. In that still space is where you begin to understand that there are messages for you. And what are these messages for? Why do we need messages about what's going to happen? You're always receiving messages. Your body is receiving messages. Your body knows when it's going to be hungry. Your intelligence will then tell you whether you actually need food at that time or it's just a craving, something you programmed your body to do. Well, we always eat at 2 p.m., so now the body knows it. And so it creates a physiological call to action for you. And you believe, well, I'll starve. But we know through our intelligence and just through studying biology that you won't starve. You won't starve for several days, perhaps even several weeks before you're starving. That starvation is really your brain thinking something, but you can reprogram that as well. If you can do that with your body, and that's something that you believe is very solidly based in reality, maybe you're not really sure about what consciousness is or third eye, but you're very solid in the belief that physical reality is reality. Well then, if your thoughts are affecting that, and if you are a programmable being with hunger and starvation and all of these ideas, even excitement and lack of energy is programmed by your thoughts. If you were to receive the most incredible news right now, let's say right now you're a little tired, and you were to receive the most incredible news that you've been waiting for, maybe perhaps beyond your wildest dreams, you would have energy, a sudden burst of energy, a sudden lifting of your mood because you believe something happened. It could be just great news. You don't have proof of it, but perhaps you believe the source. You get a call, a text, an email. Someone walks into the room right now and tells you something. You haven't even seen it with your own eyes, but you trust the source. Slow down here. If you trust the source from the news that is being told to you, suddenly you will have energy and you will feel happy. You might not be tired anymore. You'll be in a great mood, might want to make some calls, might want to celebrate, order some food, have a drink, go out, go for a drive, go for a run, go for a workout, get up and dance, whatever it may be. Give out hugs. The list goes on. All from your belief about something. And yes, we are going into the power of belief. This is an interesting place because the first question that usually people will ask is, well, if I just believe something, that makes it real? What if I found out it's not real? Well, now we're going to go down into Wonderland with Alice. What is real? Some people believe this is a holographic reality. They confuse the word psychic reality with holographic, that this is not real, that there's something real beyond this. This is a temporary life on Earth. It's all a projected hologram. And yet what you're doing is you're taking away the emotional validity of where you are focused right now. Let's say that you do, at this very moment, leave your body, you cross over, you're on the other side, and you meet whomever you think you're going to meet, and you say, I'm finally here, I'm on the other side. Now this is really where it's real. What would happen if you began to experience there that there's another destination for you after? And whomever is there with you, spirit guides or prophets or mentors or deities, whomever you want to see is there, and they tell you, well, you're going to move forward, or you're going to expand, my friend. Well, now you're going to say, well, that other place is more valid than here. Well, what's valid? What's real? What I'm talking to you about is not about what the final answer is. I'm showing you that there's a way to steer this ship and navigate more freely and peacefully, knowing that things are in flux, knowing that perhaps all of reality, well, certainly all of reality can never be comprehended, and that there's much more that you don't know than perhaps you do know. But if I can help provide you with a good, I will call it radar, to improve your capacity for listening and experiencing and receiving transmissions, and I would say to provide you with a good steering wheel or a good rudder, then you're able to navigate and explore and discover. So you're on the other side. They tell you that you're going to move forward. Well, now there's another reality. So a holographic reality is not what I'm speaking to you about when I say psychic reality. What I'm saying is that you are awareness itself. Psychic ability. Are you born with it? Yes, everyone is. It is a natural sense. It is far more than the survival sense. We're not speaking about the sense of danger being psychic. Well, maybe built into the human experience, there's a sense of danger, or the survivor sense that goes in us. Maybe we had better hearing capabilities. I would gather that we did have stronger hearing back in the day when we had to listen for predators outside of whatever natural habitat we were living in 1 million, 2 million years ago. But I do believe that creating that environment, let's go back a little bit to that earlier conversation about creating the physical environment. Yes, you do need a space, a physical space within your home to be able to sit in and allow that space to be the regular space that you go. Why is that? I recommend that so that you're not distracted by the physical environment. You know what's there, you know the chair, you know the walls, you know the blanket, and you know the level of quietude that you can experience there. Keeping that consistent is going to help you. That's because you don't need those distractions of a very stimulating environment, really just something that allows you to drop in and feel relaxed without going to sleep. A word of advice: there are many meditations where you close your eyes. I would encourage you to do a few meditations where your eyes remain open. This is really never spoken about, but when your eyes are open, it allows you to also understand that you are not escaping to another dimension. And I'm just going to use that word just for the sake of the importance of this new way to meditate. So do a few meditations where your eyes remain open, that you are connected to the three-dimensional environment that you're in, the room that you're in when you're meditating, so that you're not separating that in your mind is this other realm, and out here is a realm that doesn't help you. What you want to be able to do is understand that all of this physical room around you and the world that is existing or revealed to you when you close your eyes that these are interwoven, that they're actually connected, that they're actually one. So do a few meditations with your eyes open. You can keep doing your meditations that where you close your eyes. That's also important. I want to encourage you to stay flexible and stay loose. That's number one. Stay flexible, stay loose. You can loosen your tie or you can tighten it, but your internal being has to be loose, okay? So your spirit guides speak in very subtle ways. I don't really need to go into too much of the history of spirit guides. They're referred to in almost every culture that I've come across. Sometimes they're called the guardians, the ancestors, the watchers, the spirit guides, the angels, or just the universe. I call them spirit guides because that is what my experience has brought me to knowing. A word about psychedelics. Earlier, I just had the Freudian slip of the word psychedelic. Proper use of those has been proven to enhance your intuitive abilities. Through personal work with a shaman, you can achieve a state of stillness that allows you to connect to that dimension. Many people who have done sacred plant medicine ceremonies have seen beings. Now, they often come out of these experiences and say, I was hallucinating. And others will encourage them, yes, tell me about your hallucination. Well, you're not going to get that from me here. Those are not hallucinations. You are having the veil lifted. And those beings that you're seeing exist interdimensionally. And that is the purpose of those sacred medicines being on this planet, is to restore to you and show to you your divine true nature. Yes, I said the word divine. We're not in a clinic only. This is a feeling-based lab. It is a divine, blissful feeling. It is a feeling of astonishment, wonderment, and reverence that you can have from a proper sacred medicine, plant medicine journey. Some people I've met have come out of those journeys and still don't believe in psychics. Well, that's very interesting that you don't believe in spirit guides when you saw them yourself. So they question themselves endlessly. They will never have any proof that will truly convince them. You could have the gods themselves appear to them at the foot of their bed and tell them that it was true. And they will begin to second guess even that experience and wonder if they were just dreaming. Well, good luck to those people, because life, physical life, goes very fast. So start to pick whether you believe in a magical reality as a much more logical truth than a cold, harsh reality devoid of love, divine energy, or support, that you are literally alone. You can choose that, and that will be your reality. Or you can choose something else, and that will be your reality. So, you can achieve a lot in plant medicine ceremonies. Now people are referring to it as psychedelic therapy because they refuse to say sacred journeys. Well, I say sacred journeys, but I'll still say plant medicine ceremonies if you need me to. I'm just going to touch on that in this episode, but I will dive into it a lot more in the future. So, what will you do for your physical body? Simple things. Keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself physically flexible. When you are performing yoga or Tai Chi, you are using the interface of the body to physically experience flexibility, openness, being limber, being loose, and that will affect how much you are internally bracing or holding on, emotionally, mentally, spiritually holding on or bracing yourself. You cannot be very good at receiving psychic transmissions if your body is bracing itself. Bracing it yourself, that's simply about when a person is in a car and maybe they see a bump or an accident about to happen and they tighten up. Not good. In fact, I've read some articles where they say children who weren't in the car, even in seatbelts, had less injuries, or even adults had less injuries when they didn't see it coming, and that those who saw the other car coming to knock into them braced themselves and therefore had more injuries. something to research and look up, and you can share it with me here if you like what you find. But I think you understand the principle that staying loose allows you to receive far more than if you are wound up tight. So any relaxation techniques without you going to sleep will increase your psychic capacity. Your 4 bars, getting up to 4 bars is what I call it. So just find those on the internet. We're not going to go over meditations here. Just some meditation tips is what I'll offer you. So spirit guides, yes, they are with you. You have many different spirit guides. Some are gatekeepers. Gatekeepers are the one who works the door at the club. They check IDs and they make sure that no one gets into your inner world, your inner psychic realm where you receive messages and do your work, except for high-level spirit guides. Why do we say high level? We mean high frequency. We mean those who are only here for the expansion of consciousness in a very clear and direct way to assist you and others through you. We are not speaking about those intelligences, entities, spirits, souls who are wandering the planet. And yes, you can if you choose to. That has been my experience as a medium. I've seen it myself. Some people just never ever really truly go to what I would call the official other side. They're in between. They like to stay in this realm, more invisible to the physical eye, what you would call hauntings, or strange occurrences, or high strangeness, as we call it. There's a lot more there that I also will dive into later. We'll get into portals and those spaces where we feel energy is traveling through, and we have these paranormal experiences. All right, well, I like to say that we're having a paranormal experience right now because I'm a spirit, you're a spirit, and all of this is happening through frequency, sound waves, and light waves. And all of that could be considered metaphysical. You can't see the light waves necessarily. You're experiencing them, but you can't see them as waves, as you would identify them as waves. That's the only way you're seeing me, is through these light waves, hearing me through the sound waves. So always there's these fascinating scientific facts. I love it. It also enriches my psychic understanding because everything always is coming back down to frequency, transmission, sensitivity of the receptor. If the receptor is more sensitive, then you will perceive more reality. Let's say it again. If the receptor is more sensitive, then you will perceive more of an expanded reality. The more powerful the telescope, the more powerful the camera, the more powerful the microphone, you will hear aspects of sounds or completely new sounds that you never heard before because the microphone was more sensitive. The camera was more sensitive, and now it began to see galaxies, black holes, or subatomic particles. You are made of the same technology. You are a receptor. So these conversations shall continue. We will talk more about this. I hope and encourage you to watch and listen to this again. This really is also a meditation. If you find yourself at times nodding off while we're having this discussion, because remember, even though you're hearing me speak, you're talking back in your mind. I hope that you lessen the talking back and just receive what I'm offering to you so that you can consider it and integrate it, implement it, and ask yourself questions. You can ask me questions as well. You can leave them in the comments below. I hope that you feel this transmission and know that I'm with you on this journey. And I'll always be here on this journey with you, whether it's here in these videos or after I leave this earth. I will still be communicating with you if you'll have me. And I'm happy to address any questions or topics that you may have. So that concludes this session of Psychic Lab. Be well, stay open. You're never in the wrong place at the wrong time. You're exactly as you should be, with every resource available to you. All you have to do is extract it from the reality you're experiencing, and you'll be able to feel what you want to feel and open the way you want to open. Stick to it and relax. I'm with you. Peace.